there will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better.
Okay.
The harder challenge, much harder challenge, is how do people then have meaning?
From most of the videos I've watched online, it's obvious that humans were controlling Tesla's Optimus humanoid robot at the We Robots event. But those lifelike interactions have raised some serious issues. One big question that keeps coming up is whether robots are about to take over our jobs. If robots are taking over all the jobs, where will the money come from for people to purchase products? On one hand, companies are automating jobs to cut costs and increase efficiency. But on the other hand, if people are not working, they won't have the money to buy what those companies are selling. So in this video, we are going to dive deep into the complex conversation around robots, especially humanoids like Optimus, and how they're changing the future of work. The truth is, people long for robots that can take on laborious tasks and relieve us from mundane chores, even enhancing our productivity. This type of world where robots work alongside humans, just like in Star Wars universe, is just amazing and enticing. Making the possibility that robots could help us in healthcare, manufacturing, and even in personal home assistance aligns with the desires many have for a more automated and efficient future. However, the most immediate fear is that humanoid robots like Optimus will replace human jobs. And as the capabilities of these robots improves, and they become able to perform a wide range of tasks currently done by humans, without the need for rest, it becomes easy to imagine a future where human workers are no longer needed. If we take the example of like Amazon, the company has already deployed over 750,000 robots across its warehouses, replacing over 100,000 human workers in the process. But the good thing is, Amazon still maintains a large human workforce. However, if a worker retires, quits, or gets fired, what are the chances they'll be replaced by another human? With so many robots in the warehouse, the answer might be slim. Only jobs needing a special set of skills that robots can't do will get to be replaced by another human. People often laugh at robotics companies when they unveil robots that have mechanical or awkward movements that don't resemble the fluidity of human motion. When these robots fail to do basic tasks autonomously, critics are quick to dismiss them as gimmicks or call them useless. But the moment a robot starts performing tasks convincingly and showing human-like abilities, the fear always sets in, and suddenly, the idea of humanoid robots replacing human jobs feels a lot more real. This leads to another significant conversation of the famous universal basic income. Even Elon Musk has mentioned UBI as a potential solution to the rise of AI and robotics.
Like a lot of people, they derive their meaning from their employment. So if you don't have, if you're not needed, if there's not a need for your labor, what's the meaning? Do you have meaning? Do you feel useless?
Mentioned UBI as a potential solution to the rise of AI and robotics. If you don't know this idea, let me simplify it to you in a simplified manner. The idea is simple. As machines get better and more jobs are taken over by robots, people will need a basic income to survive. But here's the problem. If everyone is receiving a universal basic income, how will people have the disposable income to buy products from the very tech companies making these robots? If robots are taking over all the jobs, where will the money come from for people to purchase products? This creates a paradox where on one hand companies are automating jobs to cut costs and increase efficiency. But on the other hand, if people are not working, they won't have the money to buy what those companies are selling. Currently, the official line is that robots are there to do the boring, repetitive tasks that humans don't want to do. But let's be honest, because we are certainly not stupid people, that's how it starts. But as we move forward, robots will get better and better. They'll start taking over more complex roles that require skills and decision-making processes that until now we thought only humans could do. And in the long run, robots might outsmart us. When that happens, we will automatically lose control over the evolution of AI and robotics. We've reached a pivotal moment in human history. Humanoid robots like Tesla's Optimus represent both the potential for incredible progress and a genuine threat to human jobs. Right now, we're told that robots are here to help us, to take over the menial tasks we don't want to do. But as robots get smarter and more capable, we are going to find ourselves in a world where it's not just the repetitive jobs that are at risk. all jobs could be on the table. Whether you're a factory worker, a truck driver, a doctor, or even a lawyer, the robots are coming and they're getting better every day. The next part, we are going to upload this script to Google's NoteBookLM so that you can hear the AI conversations on the same topic.
All right, so are robots really gonna take over all our jobs? And it's a question we hear everywhere these days. But today we're going deeper than those clickbait headlines. We're diving into the work of tech commentator Chris Wobbs, who has some pretty thought-provoking ideas on this whole robot revolution thing.
Yeah, you know what's really interesting about Wobbs is he kind of zeroes in on this primal fear we have.
Yeah.
This fear of being replaced or, becoming obsolete. He even quotes Yuval Noah Harari, who said that history began when humans invented gods and will end when humans become gods.
Okay, well, that's a little ominous, but I see what you mean. We laugh when robots trip and fall,
Yeah.
But then the second they can, perform surgery or write code, we all start to sweat a little. Wobbs even uses that example of Tesla's Optimus robot. Remember those demos at the We Robots event? People were freaking out, even though, humans were the ones controlling the robots.
Right, it's we can't escape this anxiety about, our own relevance in a world where machines are getting smarter every day. And the thing is, this isn't just some sci-fi fantasy anymore.
Yeah.
Wobbs points out that Amazon has already replaced over 100,000 warehouse workers with 750,000 robots.
Whoa, okay. So 750,000 robots.
That's a lot of robots.
Yeah, that's not exactly putting my mind at ease. I mean, okay, so robots can pack boxes now. But what happens when they can write marketing copy or, analyze financial data? Wobbs is kind of arguing that this whole, robots are here to help narrative might be a little bit naive.
Yeah, he's definitely pushing us to think beyond just those simple tasks. He really gets into how AI and robotics could disrupt way more jobs than we initially think. He even quotes a study that predicted that something like almost half of all work activities could be automated using current technology.
Oh, okay, so that's a huge chunk of the workforce.
You too.
So we're not just talking blue-collar jobs here. We're talking white-collar, creative, even those knowledge-based jobs, they could all be reshaped or even replaced by AI. Wobbs doesn't really hold back, does he?
I mean, he's definitely sounding the alarm.
Oh, yeah.
But, oh yeah.
This idea that robots are going to be taking over jobs has been around for a while, but it feels like it's getting closer and closer.
It really does.
Yeah.
Especially as the technology keeps advancing, as the AI gets better.
Right.
And what's funny is how Wobbs talks about this shift in perception.
Oh, yeah.
Initially, those clunky early robots were almost comical.
Yeah, they were kind of funny.
But as their movements become more fluid, more human-like,
right,
it's starting to feel less like science fiction and more like
reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the fear factor kicks in when you see something that moves and acts like a human. But it can work tirelessly without breaks and with this incredible precision.
Yeah, you start to think okay, what happens to the human workforce when robots can perform tasks not just faster, but potentially better?
Exactly.
Right. Or how many humans does one robot replace?
Exactly. And it's not just about replacing existing jobs.
Yeah. Right.
It's about the types of jobs that will be created in the future.
Yeah.
Will there even be enough new roles to offset the jobs lost to automation? And what kind of skills are people going to need to have to thrive in this new landscape?
Exactly.
So Wobbs brings up this idea of universal basic income,
UBI.
or UBI, as a potential solution. So basically everyone gets a guaranteed income, especially if robots end up doing most of the work.
Interesting.
Even Elon Musk is kind of on board with this.
I mean, it's a fascinating idea, but it raises so many questions.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you fund such a massive program?
Right.
And what happens to people's motivation to work if their basic needs are met regardless?
Yeah. And that's the paradox that Wobbs mentions.
Okay.
If everyone's getting a basic income, but robots are doing all the work, who's buying all this stuff?
Right. Who are the consumers?
Yeah, who are the consumers? It's this weird economic loop.
Yeah, it really challenges our traditional understanding of work and consumption and, economic growth.
Completely.
If robots become the primary producers, I mean, do we need to rethink the entire foundation of our economic system?
Yeah, and I think Wobbs is also pretty skeptical about this argument that robots are just here for the boring, repetitive tasks. He thinks it starts there.
Sure.
But as they become more sophisticated, they'll inevitably start taking on more complex roles, even ones that require decision-making and problem-solving. Those skills we always thought were
uniquely human.
Yes, exactly.
It's like if AI can outperform humans in tasks that require like critical thinking, creativity, even emotional intelligence.
What does that even mean for the future of human work?
Right. What does that look like?
And then that leads to another one of his fears.
Okay.
The possibility of losing control.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what happens if AI just becomes so intelligent that it surpasses our ability to understand or even manage it?
Yeah, it's a scary thought.
It is. It's like, are we creating our own demise?
It's a valid concern, I think. As we develop increasingly powerful AI systems, we need to be very careful about, the ethical implications.
The safeguard.
Yeah, the safeguards we put in place.
So we've got this whole thing with robots potentially taking over jobs. UBI is this possible solution.
Right.
And then this question of, can we even control AI in the long run?
Right.
It's a lot to process, but Wobbs really brings it all together by pointing to this pivotal moment in history.
Okay.
And he uses Tesla's Optimus as this powerful symbol.
Interesting.
So on one hand, it represents this incredible progress in robotics and AI.
Yeah.
But on the other, it's this stark reminder of the potential threat to human jobs.
Yeah. Optimus is just the beginning.
I think so.
I think as these humanoid robots get more sophisticated and capable, they're going to really challenge our assumptions about, what robots can do and what role they're going to play in our lives.
In our lives.
Yeah.
And in our future.
Exactly.
It's crazy to think about.
It is.
It really is.
Yeah.
What jobs are actually on the line here?
Right.
Wobbs mentions factory workers and truck drivers, which we kind of already knew. But then he goes on to talk about doctors and lawyers.
Oh, wow.
Those professions we think of as highly skilled and secure.
Yeah, like you would think those would be safe.
Right. It's a little unsettling, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to assume that, automation will mainly impact like manual or repetitive tasks. But with AI, it's like those lines are getting blurred. I mean, we're already seeing AI being used in medical diagnosis, to analyze scans and assist doctors.
Oh, yeah.
And in law, it's helping with legal research and even drafting documents.
Wow.
So the question becomes, how much further can this go?
So it's not even just about robots physically doing the work.
Right.
It's about AI taking over the thinking, the decision-making, like those parts of the jobs, too.
Yeah, and that's a whole other level.
It is.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder about the future of education and training.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, what skills are even going to be valuable in a job market where AI is just constantly evolving and getting better?
It's hard to predict.
It is. How do we even prepare future generations for a world where work might be completely different,
Exactly.
than what we know today?
It's a whole new landscape.
It is. Wobbs didn't really offer any solutions.
Okay.
He definitely painted kind of a stark picture.
Yeah.
It's like, if robots are doing everything, what are we doing?
What's our role in all of this?
Yeah. What's the point of humans?
I know, I'm trying to stay optimistic here.
Okay.
So maybe instead of robots taking over, it's more about robots and humans working together.
That's a good way to look at it.
Each playing to their own strengths.
Yeah. That's a promising perspective.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of potential for collaboration.
Oh, for sure.
Imagine AI handling data analysis, complex calculations, the repetitive tasks.
Right.
Freeing up humans to focus on areas that require, like, creativity, empathy, critical thinking.
Right. Those more human qualities.
Exactly. Complex decision-making.
Yeah.
This idea of humans and robots as partners rather than competitors.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's gaining some traction.
That makes a lot of sense.
Oh.
But even in that scenario, some jobs will inevitably just disappear.
Yeah.
What happens to those people?
I think that's where reskilling and upskilling come in.
Oh, okay.
Governments and schools and businesses, they all need to play a role in providing training and resources.
To help people adapt to the changing job market.
So essentially equip people with the skills they need to thrive.
Right. In this future where AI is just everywhere.
So it's about adapting and evolving, not just for individuals, but for society as a whole.
Yeah, exactly. It's a collective effort.
We talked before about that fear of losing control of AI becoming too intelligent. Is that something we should be genuinely concerned about?
I think the ethical considerations around AI are crucial.
Right.
We need to make sure that, AI development is aligned with human values.
Right.
That we retain control over its capabilities, and that we have safeguards in place to prevent any sort of unintended consequences.
It feels like a lot to grapple with.
It is.
Like, where do we even begin to address all
Yeah.
this? It's such a complex issue.
I think it starts with these kinds of conversations.
Yeah.
You know, these open dialogues where we can talk about these things and try to figure things out.
Informed discussions, for sure.
Yeah, we need to educate ourselves about the potential benefits and risks of AI. And then advocate for, responsible development and
Absolutely.
implementation.
This deep dive has really given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
It's clear we're at a turning point.